Well, good morning, everybody. We made it through Monday. That's always a good sign. If you can make it through Monday, you can make it through the week. Oh, my ice maker's going off. Geez, that was loud. Did you guys hear that? I was in here chatting before the show, so if I missed you, I'm sorry. I like to come in before and chat with you guys before, just see what's going on. What's new? What's the talk of the town? Hey, Connie, how are you? How was your birthday? Hey, Spicy. Jakey5. I saw Jakey5 in a couple of other chats the other day. I think it was interview room. I told a lot of you hi. Some said hi back, some ignored me or probably didn't see it. It was on a delay, big time delay, because every time I try to tell someone hi, it would say, wait 40 seconds, wait 20 seconds. So I missed some of you and some of you missed me. That is for sure. Hello, Ryan Christie. There's Big T. Hello, Juicy Tequila Bobo. One of the coolest names, if not the coolest name on YouTube. So here we are again, going to take our beating for talking about the case we're not supposed to talk about. Shut up, get a hobby, mind your own business. Well, we're minding our own business, aren't we? We are here. We are going to talk about the case of Kiely Rodni. How many of you guys saw the interview room Sunday night? Chris McDonough always does a classy, great job. And I liked how Adventures with Purpose doubled down and said, this is our opinion. This is what we saw. And even if they come out and say it's an accident, we have a right to disagree. I agree with them. And I wasn't there. I didn't see anything with my own eyes. Can't just take their opinion away. I understand they're not investigators. I understand they're not detectives, but they definitely have relevance in this case, as does social media, because either way you look at it, social media brought Adventures with Purpose to Truckee, California, and Adventures with Purpose found Kiely. I don't think Adventures with Purpose or Chris McDonough got the memo to get a life. Just get a life. Get a life and go away. Yesterday was the 19th. There was a lot of rumors circulating that yesterday was supposed to be some sort of update. Didn't happen. Seems that they have a lot of stuff going on around there, a lot of fires. Something about a marijuana bust I saw. They got a lot of irons in the fire. I'm not really thinking there's going to be any update. I think they're going to hold to their word that it's going to be November 1st, but I would love to have an update, just like all of you. No point in stating the obvious, but here I go. They don't owe us one, but damn, it'd be nice. So let's see. I posted the link and we've got Jay Woody backstage. Let's see what is in his mind. We'll go through some comments. We're going to make it kind of a quick live today because I do have a meeting to go to. We're still going to go through what we need to go through. A members live is tomorrow. I will post it later this afternoon, the time and everything. Then Thursday, we're going to have a much longer show, because there's a lot to be discussed, not like that, discussed, with the interview room from Sunday night. Good morning, Jay Woody. How are you? You survived Monday.
Good morning, Brooks. I'm doing great, thank you. Yes, survived Monday. It's always a battle.
If you can make it through Monday, it's all downhill from there.
It literally is.
So are your Mondays crazy like everybody else's or worse?
Oh, very much so. Mondays are always kind of 3 days in one, as far as my point of view is concerned.
Yesterday was pretty smooth. The last Monday, anything that could go wrong went wrong. It was the craziest thing. It's like, can we just start taking Mondays off. Let's just do 3-day weekends and forget it. And I mean, I'm okay with bitching about Tuesdays. Tuesdays have always been very boring. Let's spice up Tuesday and just skip Monday, shall we?
Yeah, I'm definitely down with that.
Elizabeth's laughing. She goes, "A short live, ha ha." Yeah, watch me cancel my meeting because I get too off track. You guys know how I go.
Yeah, that's the name of the game.
So before I get into our hero, our friend, the Jag Man, he went back on his word. I know that's hard to believe, but he did. Jagger went back on his word. Since it's kind of floating around because we have short memories on social media, right? Everything happens very fast. A lot of people are saying that even though Adventures with Purpose found Kylie, that they're irrelevant, that what they think doesn't matter. You want to weigh in on that?
Uh, well, you know what they say about opinions. I've seen some stuff about another dive team condoning or more convicting AWP for supposedly interfering with an investigation, this and that. I think that, you know, freedom of speech is pretty important. They can say, for the most part, whatever they want because it's their opinion. I don't think that I think they were um, very professional in how they stated things and how they didn't provide too much information, and also very tactical with what they did provide. So I could really care less about anybody else's opinion, especially when it's throwing shade to whom I think are heroes. And they're welcome to say whatever they want. It's not going to sway my opinion.
Beautifully said. Beautifully. When did you get so diplomatic? That was like a political speech.
Let's not go there.
Oh, wow. No, but no, you're right. I mean, if you didn't even get your toe in the water in any way, shape, or form, who are you to say they're not relevant? I'm not digging that. They're not the ones that left her stuff in the bottom of the lake. They're not the ones that couldn't find her 55 feet off the shore. They went right to her 35 minutes. Takes me longer to get a pizza delivered. And they saw her, Nick, especially Nick, not tow truck Nick, road assistance Nick, van Nick, not that Nick.
Okay.
The diver saw her with his own eyes, came up, looked a little traumatized to me, and said, "This is suspicious."
Yeah, that was my first impression as well. I think I've even stated before that the look on his face could write a book.
Mm-hmm. We're going to get really, really in depth with that on Thursday. We got several elephants in the room, except for us. We're supposed to shut up. Besides that, we're going to ignore that elephant. Okay.
Yeah, and you know the whole thing with Nick the diver as well is this is his job. He's being paid good money, and that's not to take away from the moral value of his job either. But that dive team does well. Their YouTube is very popular, and this is what he signed up for. I don't think that anybody should look at him on a civilian level as someone who may be traumatized to where he can't necessarily express his opinion without it being perceived as something alternative. He knows that he was in it to find possibly a a dead body, and not just in this case, but in many more, and many more to come. So I don't think that I've just seen it kind of floating around that um, he's somewhat of, I don't want to use the word victim, um, but there was, I don't know. I wouldn't look at Nick as saying, "Oh, poor Nick." You know, he had to find a dead body. This is what he signed up for. This is his job. He's prepared for it. He's briefed. He's debriefed. I think from a face value point of view, he's shielded against any kind of traumatization other than the normal human aspect. So that being said, where I'm going with that is when he came up and looked flabbergasted, I think it was for more reasons other than just seeing a dead body. I think it was the state of things.
I totally agree, because in that line of work, like we talk about first responders on this show quite a bit. And I don't know how you prepare yourself, but a fireman knows when they go in that building, besides fire, that odds are they're going to find a deceased person. So for him to have that reaction over something he was mentally prepared for is even more, suspicious. Am I being fair there?
Yeah, and not the kind of suspicious like he's a suspect, but suspicious as in this needs more investigation.
Oh, no. I didn't mean to put that out in the universe, if you know what I mean. No, not him suspicious. That he would have that reaction. Not, yeah, it's what we thought type of reaction. Because you have, when you're in that line of work, you know what to expect. He wouldn't have been surprised to find her in there.
Yeah, 100%.
Colette, hang on. We're not trying to say that they got any money from law enforcement or from the family. They get their money from memberships, YouTube views, merchandise, stuff like that. They've got to eat too. So yes, they do get money. They make money from their YouTube channel, and it is well worth it because of what they do for families. So no one's trying to say anything like that he gets paid well or anything like that. I hope he does get paid well. I hope they all do.
AWP has built a brand, and that brand has a lot of credibility. And when you have that big of a brand, getting funded is not a hard thing. And that's all I was saying. I wasn't trying to insinuate that it's just a gig.
No, not at all. And I mean, I know when they found Kylie, and even leading up to when they made the announcement they were coming to town, I don't know, when you mention money, it immediately gets some people's blood pressure up. And I know a few people in chat, they didn't come back. That's all right. They were like, how dare you? They do this out of the goodness of their heart. Okay, they got to eat. This isn't guys that live under a bridge and get food from the local food bank and borrow a buddy's boat and go to these rivers and lakes. They have to have money to do these missions. They don't charge families. They don't drop a bill off at the local sheriff's department on the way out of town and say, hey, I'm going to expect payment in 30 days. They don't operate that way.
Exactly. Gas ain't cheap, and they have to go all around the country, not just in their trailer and their RV, but they got to pay for the gas for the boats, and there's so many costs that go into running their business. All I was trying to say was looking at it from a business perspective.
Yeah, and you're 100% right. And we do say that on this channel. We do. I know some channels won't touch it. They have to have money. They have to. I know after they found Kylie, my husband and I made a donation to them. We're members. They can't do the greater good on thoughts and prayers. And there's nothing against thoughts and prayers. I'm not saying that at all. They have to have the funding to do it.
Well said.
But bedtime clown, who you calling out? Uh-oh, somebody's calling somebody out on Twitter. Whoo! Let me in on your secret. All right, let's get to some comments from the last show. Then we're going to talk about Jagger he went back on his word. He went back on his word. We're going to talk about that and a little bit on AWP and the interview room. You ready?
Born ready.
Born ready. I like that. All right, from our last show about Kiely Rodni. By the way, if you missed the show about Summer Wells yesterday, there was a lot of really good information in there regarding if Dawn will wind up going to Utah or not. So if you missed it, catch it on the replay. And as always, leave a comment afterward. If I showcased your comment, please send me an email. You will find out why. Penny Sue said, AWP on TIR, what we were just talking about, said if LE comes out and says it was an accident, they will move on. But because of what they saw with their own eyes and know, remember, they're not telling us what all they know. They will never personally accept that answer. This is from the gentleman that brought her out of the lake and spent a lot of time around town and talked to Nick, the roadside assistance guys. What do you think about that, Jay Woody and everyone in chat?
Well, we all need to be prepared for the possibility that they could come out and say it was 100% an accident. There's nothing, no proof that there was any foul play involved at all. And we don't need to be crucifying anyone as guilty, no matter how guilty they look right now, before any factual evidence is provided. Because right now, we have so little to go on, and it's 99% speculation. We have to remember that even as of now, and even if tomorrow or today they came out and said that it was just an accident, that there has not been anyone accused of murder. That being said, if there is evidence brought to light that there is murder or foul play, it can be reopened.
Always can be reopened. The only thing that can't be reopened is if someone is found not guilty in a court of law, acquitted.
Correct.
There's many cases where they have come out and they're like, charges dropped, not of suspicion. Then they come back later and they're like, taking another gander of this and some other evidence that's come forward, we had to rethink our position. It's never over till it's over. So I really liked her comment, and I went back and I saw where they were talking about it on Chris McDonough's show, The Interview Room. And whatever they heard, whatever they saw, whoever they've been talking to, it's not a, well, I could see it going either way type of thing. Doug himself said, it's not a wrong turn road. Jared, she was in the backpack. We've never, unless you guys have heard, we don't know, if she was extended, arms in front of her in like swim mode, like trying to swim to the back, I could see them not thinking any suspicion. She was trying to get out. And I think they would tell us that. From what we saw, it looked like she was trying to get out. I just do not believe they would jeopardize everything they have built for an internet shitstorm.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like that's one reason why they haven't rushed anything as far as divulging what they know, is because it is a long, arduous process. They're looking at all kinds of forensics in the car. They're looking at all kinds of forensics on the body. I have a good feeling that they would see signs of someone that tried to escape from a car.
Mm-hmm. And I think those are probably signs they've seen before. This wasn't their first rodeo. I mean, when people are questioning the relevance of them speaking, I cannot believe how the tides have turned. It went from, oh my God, wonderful work, wonderful work. Oh, I'm so glad, not the outcome we wanted, but heroic, blah, 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 to they just need to quit talking. We've already heard all this. They're not even relevant. They're not law enforcement. They don't know if it's suspicious or not. They got eyes. They've got eyes. They were there. Not to mention they have a record. They have a record. They have found other people in waterways. And they're not going to take no for an answer. They said they won't mess with it. They're not going to spend the rest of their life talking about it, but they're not going to go for it. That's what I gathered.
Yeah, I feel the same.
And in all the other cases that they've done, and including this one, which this one obviously is a different monster altogether, they stay out of the drama. Like, they could go on any panel they wanted. They've got their own platform, a huge one, and just crush these people talking shit about them. They're like,
Oh,
nah. There's other dive teams saying I can't, which is total jealousy. I'm telling you, that's the green-eyed monster. Other dive teams calling them out, saying they should have never opened their mouth. Who is anyone to say who can talk and who can't? Who's to say who can use the internet and who can't? What have we come to here?
well, you know what they say. You got haters, you must be doing something right.
Oh, that just gave me chills. Hang on. This is something going around. I do not know how to pronounce your YouTube name. You're going to have to put this in syllables for me. I learned to read using phonics. Okay, I'm going to say Priestess said, do you think she went to sleep in the back and the gang of guys who blocked the road decided to push her car in as a prank, not knowing she was in there? I have seen this in basically every group, screenshotted to me, emailed to me, that this was a senior prank gone wrong. That she did have a little too much to drink, decided to crawl into the back and sleep it off for a little bit, and they rolled her car down into the lake as a prank, but were trying to stop it. I don't know at all where this rumor came from. No idea. If it's and I am not putting this out as fact, disclaimer, no way. A senior prank gone wrong would make sense because kids they don't play the tape to the end. They don't think about what could happen. Have you given any thought to senior prank gone wrong, JW?
I've entertained it, and I don't think that scenario as described in that comment would necessarily deem a senior prank. That seems a little more dumbassery to me rather than an orchestrated prank. And when you see things over and over like that, and I have too, it almost makes you wonder if it's being put out there as disinformation. Not to discredit anybody's opinion or anybody's speculation or the conclusion that they've drawn. But I mean, could that have happened? Very well, absolutely. I mean, that's not hard to imagine. But we just really need to be vigilant in the information that we see on the internet, in chat rooms, on YouTube, and not get so one-sided in our what the outcome that we would like to see or what makes sense, but really look at all sides and all possibilities before we just run with something.
Well, if they truly are trying to surmise this as an accident, they want it done, they want it over, they don't feel like investigating any further. A lot of people say, look, this is going to be a cover up. Don't even worry about November 1st, what they say. They've already made up their mind. I don't really see that. I think it's still being investigated. Maybe I'm naive, but that's what I think. But if California Highway Patrol comes to the summation that she clearly just drove into the lake, here's the toxicology, this is what we've got. They better spend a lot of time explaining it to the general public, or they're going to have a problem.
Yeah, and that wouldn't be too far of a reach for them to do. We've seen it in other cases where they even make out like a full animation recreation of situations that nobody was there to really see, you know. But as far as kids pushing a sleeping person into water in their car, that to me, that's not a prank, that's murder.
Oh, absolutely. Second degree manslaughter. And if that's the case, somebody will be punished. Somebody has to be punished. As it stands right now, I think there should be some charges on a few kids that interfered with a police investigation. That's just me, though. We have a daily press conference from law enforcement begging for information. At the time, Lindsay, Kylie's mother, was begging in one news clip. She was, her face, she's distraught. She's like, I'm begging, I'm begging, I'm begging, I'm begging. She's not begging now. She wants everyone to shut up and go find a hobby. Begging for information. Yet we have a couple of kids saying, give me the information. Teen to teen, hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on Snap. Gonna filter through all this nonsense and let the sheriff know what he needs to know. I think for that, I do think there needs to be some charges and some accountability. Hey, you got to learn sometime. If not, they're going to go through the rest of their life thinking they can pull all the shit they want to pull and there's no repercussions.
Agreed.
That was the damnedest thing I've just about ever saw. By the way, we have a new word of the day Jay Woody coined for us, dumbassery. I will also get on my soapbox about that. That should also be a crime.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that someone has been convicted for dumbassery.
The jails would be full. Matter of fact, I would probably get in there around 1 today. Be like, all right, dumbass, we're going to keep you for 30 minutes. Go home, quit being a dumbass. All right, Saffron Rice says, I do not know how anyone would know they were the last person to see a person unless you were actually there. I think Bruiser, talking about our girl Sammy, must have been with Kylie at her last moments. This comment from Saffron blew my mind. It seems like a very simple comment, but the simplest observations are the most powerful. How can you give such a definitive statement as, I was the last one to see her? That's something imprinted in your mind to even say that. Not, well, when I was leaving, I said bye. I was the last one to see her. How would anyone know? Okay, so let's say I shut down the show right now and we don't see you in Discord, Jay Woody, God forbid. Nobody can get you on instant messenger or whatever. That'd be like me saying, well, I was the last person to talk to him. No, I don't know what the hell you got going on all day. How can she say she was the last person?
Well, obviously a red flag. I mean, us in the true crime community know that typically the last person to see them is either involved or has the most information. It just kind of goes back to Placer County Sheriff's Office saying in the beginning, if you've thought it, we've thought it. They're not idiots. I think that they've weighed the evidence and the speculation themselves and have seen the same red flags.
That was pretty groundbreaking when it was said at the I don't know if it was the one on the 12th or the 13th. Could have been even into the next week. When, I mean, a question was asked. I don't even know what the question was because the answer is what got my attention. When Angela said, "If you're thinking it, so are we." That doesn't point to an accident.
Yeah, it points to a lot of unanswered questions.
And from there, they said, "We're not doing any more press conferences. Why waste your breath? It's getting them nowhere." Lindsay herself said, "No one saw my daughter leave." How can that be? I don't care if you're at a party of 5 people or a party of 400. How could nobody have seen her leave? So from there, they're like, "We're wasting our breath. We're pleading for answers. No more press conferences. We're taking another investigative approach."
Sounds pretty accurate. I mean, I know that whenever the laptop was found and other belongings 2 weeks after her car was pulled from that reservoir, it broke a lot of trust with the public's view of law enforcement. Um, but I don't think that we should discount their ability to do what they do in solving crimes and doing real police work. They have so many more facilities available than we could imagine, and so much more capabilities, so much more reach. I fully have confidence that they're doing everything that they can and probably even above and beyond um, investigating everyone involved.
It's all we've got is to have hope and faith in law enforcement. I know some people don't like that answer, but that's all we've got. And we forget because it's been a long time since 8th grade civics. Not only do they have to put it all together on their end with people that are not going to cooperate with them. Hell no. They're not going to tell them anything. No, they gotta get the needle out of the haystack. They also have to put it together ironclad so it's beyond a reasonable doubt for if it goes in front of a jury. How many juries have gone sideways and our faces have just fallen off going, how the hell did they vote that person not guilty?
Casey Anthony.
Mm-hmm. OJ's playing golf right now. He's on Twitter.
Yeah. And that's where law enforcement has issues, is proving something beyond reasonable doubt, you know. And I would hope that they wouldn't. I think a lot of lessons were learned with the Casey Anthony case, and you can't just jump on murder one without evidence beyond reasonable doubt.
And it takes so long. It's like anymore, everything's a click away. So if things aren't solved, and let's say by the time, the weekend's over or the week's up, people are pissed. But if you go back to cases from, say, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the Innocence Project is overturning so many people that have sat in jail because of the rush to judgment. Look at the cadet murders south of Dallas. They killed that girl.
Are you talking about Fort Hood?
No, his name's David. Her name's Diane. What was the girl's name they killed? Basically, he cheated on Diane with this girl, the cadet murders. This was back in the late 80s, 90s.
Okay.
Diane goes off to Annapolis. She's a naval cadet. David goes off to Colorado Springs, I think, Air Force. And they had pretty much had it pinned on some other guy in town. I mean, this guy would, if it wasn't for Diane saying something to which she thought was funny to the other cadets in Annapolis, that guy would probably be sitting in a Texas prison right now. But she is talking to her girlfriends and she talks about this murder she was a part of. Well, something about her story they thought was just too detailed to be a joke. So they tell their senior officers that tell another senior officer and says, was there any murder around their town or anything like that? And they were like, yeah, there was. These two don't know this girl. Then they find out they did. And well, they're in jail to this day. But that one guy, I can't remember his name, he would still be sitting in that Texas jail because there was so many rushes to judgment before little things like DNA, CCTV, the internet came out. Look it up, the Texas cadet murders.
Yeah, I'll certainly have to check that one out. That was a little before for my time of reconciliation, not before the time I was born, but
it'll blow your
not
mind.
there for that one.
Well, I got off topic again. You leave it to me. But going back to what Saffron said, exactly, Sammy, how can you say you're the last person to see someone? How do you know she didn't go home? How do you know she didn't go off with another friend? How do you know she didn't get a ride from somebody? How can you make such a definitive statement as, I was the last one to see her? That's a red flag, guys. That's a red flag. Hang on. Oh, here we go. Leopard Joyce said, law enforcement nor anyone can say this was an accident without a full investigation because we have no witness to Kylie driving herself into Prosser Reservoir. We also have no witness to her leaving the damn party. Saying it's an accident is presumptive and an opinion only at this point. I think that kind of goes along with what we're saying right now. And we're not defending anybody either way. It's just something is not good in the hood. We're not just going to go away. Did I lose you, my friend?
I'm here. You know, I think that all of us have the mindset of wanting justice to be served. For myself, regardless of how that justice comes, but for myself, I just want it to make sense. Want it to make it make sense. You know, if there was no foul play involved, no evidence to prove that, then just make it make sense. And if there's no witnesses, it's hard. And I think the witnesses leading up to said event are not very credible right now. You know, you see on some other channels that there's a Jane Doe and this person said this and that person said that and Elsa said this and Sammy said that. You got to realize that at this point it's still hearsay.
All of it.
Yes, and if it jives with you, that makes sense to you, great. But don't take hearsay for fact.
Oh God, and there's so much of it. There's people doing entire shows off of just hearsay, and I'm like, look, mention it. Please don't put it out as a fact. This is already so convoluted. It really is. We know fact, Sammy said she was the last one to see her, and she was the one that pretty much knew everything that was happening, and that she got a phone call 3 minutes after Kylie's phone went off grid. We know that as a fact. She said it. Not saying it happened, but we know that it's a fact. She said it. Now, I'm still trying to figure out the geography of where Jagman came from, because neither Napa nor Reno are 4 hours away. Yet he said he drove 4 hours to get there. Jagger said it, not saying it's true. Jagger said it. Jagger also said when he was confronted about the Adventures with Purpose video, after he said their witness is a liar. How can you be a witness if you saw nothing? If you didn't see anything, how did you witness something? Their witness is a liar, and I live 4 hours away. The hell is going on here?
You know, it seems like there's a lot of feet being inserted into mouths, and I would really love for that to be proven and that it may provide clarity. But you also have the fact of teenagers are dumb and they say dumb stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's real hard to go one way or other with what Jag says.
He's the Don Wells of the case. Wasn't there, but knows everything. He can't even get the timeline right for how long it would take him to drive from Napa or Reno to Truckee. Insane. All right, so as I was saying last week, this is what Jag says to us all via his Instagram. This isn't the Long Live Kylie Instagram. This is his. This was last week. I put it on the community tab. I don't know if it was just for members or everyone. Anyway, where he says, and I know you were very brokenhearted about this, Jay Woody, and I hate to bring it back up to you. You might want to sit down if you're not already. This is a very bad memory for you. Jagger not responding to any new DMs or tags until autopsy is publicly released. Sorry if this affects any of you. No. All good here. All good here. All good here. So this was last week. We spoke about it briefly. A lot of people got upset that, I thought this just took some audacity to even put out, as if we need to hear his 2 cents. He wasn't there, correct? He wasn't there.
It's what he said.
It's what he said. It's what he said. Yep. All right. So then on the Long Live Kylie Instagram, a few days ago, he only had 86 likes at the time, so it's just a few days ago. I haven't had time to rack those up. He says, I'm so sorry. All these people are making such a mockery over this. I'm trying to tell them it's over, but they won't listen. I'm trying, Kylie. I just don't know what else to do. What's he trying to tell us? What's her mother trying to shut us up about? Her mother has every right to speak. If her mother has been told there's no foul play, we're just putting together how the accident occurred, she has every right to come out and say, listen, I can tell you, even if they're not ready, this is what they're telling me. They believe she had an accident. She has every right to do that. She's her mother, for God's sake. Kylie's a minor. So Jagger, he says he's been trying to tell us. Can somebody, besides our good friend on panel, by the way, Lone Wolf, thank you for the super sticker. Can someone help me? Like Jay Woody said, make it make sense. What's he been trying to tell us? He had a comment one day when he was commenting back to people before he threatened us, saying he wasn't going to anymore. He said, almost all new evidence is BS. He worded it something like that. The word almost got me. Well, also the new evidence got me. What evidence and what almost? Now he says he's been trying to tell us. It's over. What do you make of this, Jay Woody?
Well, it almost seems like he's going down the same path as Lindsay. Just wanting everybody to stop talking about it, wanting it to be an accident, and no one was involved, no foul play. Why he's taken that route is the better question, because if he loves her, if he forever Kylie, whatever he wrote on his arm, I would want to get to the bottom and rule out any possibility of anyone doing that to the love of my life,
Yeah,
regardless of how it happened.
regardless. I mean, at what point in your own personal relationships, not asking anyone to tell us who they're the most fond of or anything, but at what point in your own personal life, your spouse, your children, even the coworker whose ass you can't stand, at what point do you want it just to go away without the answers to what truly happened to that person? What makes you want it to just go away? Is there too much heat coming at him right now because the cat's out of the bag about him and Kate? Could that be it?
I don't know about that. I mean, they weren't afraid to admit that on social media, so I don't see why they would give a darn about what anybody else says on social media about their relationship.
Yeah. I think that is tacky, tacky, tacky for both of them. They should have kept all of that under wraps. I don't think Kylie would have cared because it seems to me that she was done with him. Living the single life, right? She was at a party without him.
Rocking the single life, yeah. I don't think there's any doubt about where Kylie was at with Jagger, and there was no with, other than the fact that they still communicated.
Yeah, even the video that he took secretly, by the way, I can't believe her mother's okay with that. If somebody secretly videotaped my child and put it on social media without any consent, I would be furious. But this is just another thing that's okay. It's just okay. It's all right. It's kind of cute, isn't it? Oh, he secretly videoed her. Even in that secret video, she looked uncomfortable with him to me. I don't know Kylie. Never met Kylie. To me, she just looked uncomfortable with him.
Yeah, I would agree. She certainly didn't. Okay, so the way I see it is she did not want to submit to him, and I don't mean submit like I mean it metaphorically, not necessarily literally. But she wasn't playing coy. She literally had a wall that she did not want to completely let down between them, from my point of view.
Mhm. That
Um,
it looked uncomfortable. It looked like an uncomfortable exchange for me as well, especially for him to come out later and say, "You didn't know I was videoing this."
yeah, it's definitely creepy and could be perceived in a few different ways that none of them make him look good as a person.
No, no. I dropped the link. I know a couple of you were going to come up, so I put it up there. We have Tanya backstage. Let's see what Tanya thinks about what Jagger is trying to tell us. Nice to meet you, Tanya. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Um, I guess this is just a speculation or a scenario, so no facts. I don't have anything to back it up. Um, I'm just thinking, I think there were two parties that night, and everybody's talking about how they saw Kylie was really already drunk and messed up at the first party. What if somebody gave her a ride from party number one at Prosser to party number two, which is at this other lake, and thinking that she'll just sleep it off. So they go over, they party, till like most kids do, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. But then they realize that, she's not waking up, that she kind of OD'd. Well, then I think they would be kids who would just get scared. Oh my God, I'm in her car. We're at this party. She OD'd. And they they're scared, so they cover it up. They try to cover it up. But they're not that familiar with the car. They're paranoid. They've spent a night of partying. I don't know how the call went to a AAA because Kylie cannot legally own a car. So the insurance is not in her name either in the services. So I don't know who was contacted, who did AAA contact, or who contacted AAA. That's still,
From
an
what
unknown.
from what I'm understanding, and again, this is probably just a rumor going around, that if you continually try to start your car and it won't, some
Mhm.
cars will reach out to roadside assistance. In
Right.
California, they have something like, we don't have it here, but it's like 511. So you don't have to have AAA. You don't have to have Geico roadside. You don't have to have it through your auto insurance at all. You don't have to have anything. They'll just show up.
It automatically calls them. Yeah, and I've heard of services like that as well. So I'm thinking that's what happened, is that it automatically called the roadside assistance because they were trying to start it and it was in neutral. They didn't realize, because they're not familiar with the car. And that's what called them out there. And they're just, panicked. And so I know kids, they don't go far from what they know. That's why they didn't go further than wherever they were at, in that location that they were seen by the tow truck driver guy. So I think in a panic, they think they're going to jail, even though they may not have been directly responsible if that's what happened to Kylie and she overdosed. They probably think they're going to go to jail, so they're going to try to hide it. So I think, they may have put her back in the lake to try to hide that. But I think there's a lot of other things that are going on, and that's why we have all of these things that are not connecting to each other. Because there's a big, huge fentanyl thing going on in that area. There's been a lot of deaths lately where people are going to prison for, all these underage fentanyl overdoses. So I think there may have been those drug pushers at these parties, or one or both of these parties. So they're trying to cover their tracks because all of a sudden now they got a lot of heat on them because some girl ended up missing. And now you got national FBI and all the national news organizations that are coming around, and they're afraid they're gonna get busted. So they're tight-lipped and they're sending out misinformation as much as they can to try to cover their butts. And then you've got the police dropping the ball. They may have known about the parties and looked the other way, and now something happens and they're afraid they're going to get caught. So they're, trying to cover I don't know. I think it's, like I said, 3 or 4 different scenarios, and everybody's just trying to cover their rear. And the only one that's really paying a cost is Kylie.
Mm-hmm.
This girl lost her life, whether it was an accident or whether it was misfortune. I think, the foul play is coming into how everybody is trying to cover it up, instead of, facing a consequence of this underage child being at this kind of adult party in the first place. And that's what happened. But I mean, I don't know. It's just, to me, that was another speculation at something, and I'm not hearing anybody really talking about that.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about like a possible overdose and they tried to cover it up thinking they would be in trouble, we've discussed that because they wouldn't have foreseen that tampering with a body is very, 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 very much a crime.
Right.
Somebody giving her something that was laced it's, if they knew, it's definitely a crime. No, you don't report. If you don't report a dead person around you, it's definitely a crime, particularly if you cover it up and try to make it look like an accident or a senior prank gone awry or whatever the scenario.
Right.
So let me ask you this. Actually, I want Jay Woody, if you don't, I meant to ask him. Jay Woody has brought up another party going on at the same time as well. Can you touch on that, Jay?
Well, we know from a witness account who gave a statement, not only online, but also, from what I understand, to law enforcement, that there was a party the same night at Donner Lake. I think that it's there's enough circumstantial evidence to say that it's not out of the realms of possibilities that anything that happened could have happened at a prior location.
Right. And that's where I think the fentanyl is coming in because, like I said, I think there were kids or young adults, let me put it that way, young adults pushing this because there is a problem in this area. Well, I mean, there's a problem actually all over the whole country, but there's been reported problems in this area weeks before and even weeks after, Kylie's disappearance. So I do think that there, especially if you have a party that was that advertised or that, put out there for that age group or that, for the young clientele, I am pretty sure that there were pushers there, just younger adults that were pushing the drug. So I do think she may have been either given something or, she could have procured it herself and ended up, ODing on it because she is a very small girl. And that is a very
it wouldn't take anything. It wouldn't take anything. And
right.
I wouldn't doubt at all, especially if there was people coming from different areas, people they don't even know. People
Right.
just show up with, they think it's innocent enough. And like you said, it is laced with fentanyl. And
Right.
instead of anyone dialing 911, we have a problem. They try to make it look like an accident because of what's
Right.
going on at the party. They don't think like we do. They don't understand that they're going to figure out if it's an accident or not.
Right. And then if you're the kid or the young adult who gave her the fentanyl, and then she died on it, well, now you're facing, whether you meant to or not, you're facing murder charges, which will lead you to, try to do something even more stupid. And so I do think that the majority of the problems of why these dots are not being connected has to do with there's other entities and everybody's trying to cover their own rear instead of getting to the truth. And that's why we have so much misinformation going out there. That's why nobody's talking. Everybody's scared that they're complicit from adults, being complicit,
Complicit. Yeah, exactly. That you have Kylie she's dead. She's deceased.
Right.
And
Right.
they didn't say a word. Somebody had to have seen what went on.
Oh, they saw it.
Or if it's an accident and she clearly on her own accord, drunk or not, said, well, that's it. I've got to go home. Bye, guys. We all know what an exit from a party looks like. I don't
Right.
care if you're 16, 26, 36, 46, 56. You tell somebody you're on your way out. You
Right.
don't evaporate. An exit from a party, whether you're a quiet person or a loud person, somebody knows you're making an exit.
Well, I don't think she drove out of that party because they said she couldn't even stand up. There's two different accounts of her falling down, and two different accounts now coming out. And these are supposedly eyewitness accounts at the party, both stating she couldn't even walk straight. I seriously doubted she drove herself out of that party. And I don't want to throw Sammy under the bus, but she said in a couple of her interviews, she left the party and at one time she's in the passenger seat and another time she's driving. I don't know. I mean, but I do believe somebody drove her out of that party. I don't think, I would assume at that time they were just going to go to the other party and think she would sleep it off.
That could definitely be a possibility. They think if she was falling down, maybe she had just passed out and they're like, we're going to just let her wake up or something like that. She still wound up in the lake. But like I said,
Right.
even if they're going to say this was an accident,
Right.
somebody would have saw her leave and there'd be no reason to not say they saw her leave.
Right.
Drunk or not, nobody's going to go to jail because you didn't realize that she was inebriated. Nobody would get in trouble because you weren't paying enough attention to her behavior, being drunk or not. Her
Right.
own accord, I got to get home. She grabs her keys, whether she's tipsy or not. We're not even going into that argument with this. She gets in her car. She drives away. Nobody can say that they saw that.
Right.
And then afterwards has an accident. Not everybody at that party is going to worry that someone's going to say, you shouldn't have let her drive. You shouldn't have let her drive. You should have known she was drunk. Not everybody's worried about that. And they wouldn't come out publicly, anybody.
Right.
Nobody saw her drive away from that party.
No, that's because I don't think she did. I don't. I think somebody else drove away, and you know, whether it was later or whether it was even earlier. But the cover up and everything, there's a cover up, period. I mean, regardless, just of the facts that there's no facts, you know, that there's no evidence of anything, there's a cover up.
There's a cover up. They're just not telling us what they know.
Right.
Now, when they come out November 1st and they say, go about your way, this was just a simple accident and there's no further explanation given, we'll scream cover up then.
Right. Well,
But
I mean,
right now, we don't know. The cover up is the kids.
right. Yes.
There is a cover up. There is, because not one damn kid will say that they saw her leave.
Nope.
Not a one. Jay, I was going to ask you something.
I'm all ears.
And it escaped my mind. No, I was going to have you weigh in on that. So
Well,
let's
okay. So
let's say.
here's.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No,
you better say what you want so that you don't forget it.
I'll just lose it again. But no, I mean, if she had an accident, somebody would have seen her leave. We wouldn't be talking about this today if the weekend of August 5th, all of the kids said, I didn't realize she was drunk, and yeah, she left around 12:30.
Yeah, I agree that if there was no foul play involved and it was just a bad accident like that, there wouldn't be so many circumstantial, you know, all the inaccurate statements that we have. It would be a lot more cut and dry. And there certainly, more than likely, would have been at least one person to see that happen.
Yeah.
I was just going to mention that when you start going into the realms of the possibility of an OD, it brings up so many more questions and so many more possible suspects. I've always felt like if it was a situation of a fentanyl OD, and this was a situation where there was many or few partaking in the drugs unknowingly that it was fentanyl, that there would have been more than one OD. So that brings up the question, was she given it intentionally? Okay, so she was given it intentionally. Was it given to her intentionally by a friend, or was it given to her intentionally by someone that she just met that night? Was it so that she would, if she was going to be in a fight or in a situation to where she didn't have all of her functions, or does it bring date rape into the possibility? You know, it's not that I don't want to acknowledge that OD is a possibility, but it just brings up so many more questions that don't have direct answers to.
Yeah, the intent of giving it to her. Was it to hype up the party, like, you know, recreational use? Or like you said, she loses her facilities to be in this fight? Or like you said, somebody's interested in her, and I'm using that term loosely because I don't want to be too graphic here. Right. What is the intent of giving her something unknowingly? Foul. That's not an accident. That's foul.
Correct.
Let me ask you, Tanya. Sorry, I got off track here. What do you make of Jagger saying he's been trying to tell us, and this is a mockery? I mean, I can kind of see the mockery part of it because we got some crazy stuff going on. But him saying he's been trying to tell us. What do you make of that?
I think Jagger is an odd one, but also dangerous just because of things that he's released on his own, because he filmed Kylie without her knowledge. He's followed her before. That seems more like an obsessive type of personality. You know, and they had recently had a breakup, you know, and there's a lot of different clues that just if you listen or take a step back at Kylie's, like her life and the things that so-called were different. You have this set of childhood friends that she's had that were in the church group, that were in all these different things. But the last year or several months or so, she's been hanging out with a new crowd. She broke up with her boyfriend, dating or looking at new guys. Hanging, now the new crowd involves people like Sammy and party girls and different things like that. So I think what the other caller or other panelist said has a lot, could play into it in different ways, both with Jagger and with Sammy. Because to me, Jagger could be extremely possessive, and her going to a party without him, is he stable enough that he wouldn't have, tried to act that? And if he was going to act out on it, first thing I would do, is make sure that I had an alibi and then do my thing, they're both suspect to me. So I don't know. To me, Jagger just seems off just because he does say these very weird things, and he says all of these very obsessive, compulsive things, about how much he was in love with her, and cryptic things too, because he's made it sound like some of the things he's put out has made it sound like Kylie was suicidal or, have dark thoughts and
Yep.
different things. And why is he, he's putting out these different things like, trying to lead down another path. Is that intentionally, or is he trying to say, hey guys, y'all are not looking at this, I know this about her? And nobody's saying that either. And I'm not hearing many people say that either, because I know they don't want to, but that's also another possibility.
But somebody would have seen her leave. And by now, with the heat turned up, full blast in the kitchen, someone damn sure would have come out and been like, I don't know why nobody else is talking, but I clearly saw her drive off. I don't know her that well. I don't know how she handles her booze.
Yeah.
But I did see her leave. There is no crime in saying that you saw someone leave and then you find out weeks later, hey, they got into a drunk driving accident. You're going to feel horrible. You're going to have a lot of sleepless nights. You might even stop drinking altogether or start paying more attention. I don't know. But you're going to tell them, especially with law enforcement pleading with the public, somebody knows something. And her mother, who was extremely sympathetic to all of us at the time, begging on TV, I'm begging. Her first post on social media about Kiely Rodni, my daughter went to a party last night. She texted me that she was going to be late. Nobody saw her leave. I'm looking for her.
Right.
Nobody saw her leave. Then we start hearing about this party. It started out at this point. The picture we saw, about 26 kids. Then we hear 250. We've heard upwards to 400 people.
Right.
And nobody, whether she was depressed and possibly did something to herself, which I'm not buying that. I'm just saying if that's a scenario people are entertaining, I'm saying I don't believe that at all.
I don't buy it either.
Scenario you give me, except for foul play, somebody would have saw her leave. And they would have said something by now.
Yeah, no, I think somebody, it's definitely somebody covered it. I have no doubt, or at least if it ends up being an accident, truly an accident, I don't know if I'll ever believe that. Just because who broke out the window? Why were the windows down? Why was she in the back? If she was trying to hurt herself, she would be strapped in the front seat kind of thing. I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
You're exactly right. If they come out November 1st and they even have, like Jay said, the whole animation, they've got everything. It looks like it came out of Pixar in Hollywood or wherever they make those Pixar films. This is what happened. This is exactly what happened, guys. Here you go. This is how the accident happened. We're all like, well, yeah, it looks like that could happen. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing an accident. I'm definitely seeing that. Why did no one see her leave? Why would no one say they saw her leave that party?
Right. No,
That has to be explained to me. Why 399 people, Kylie being number 400, did not see her leave.
because the ones that she was with ain't gonna admit it because they were up to something. I mean, that's just it. I mean, the ones that saw her leave, or the ones who had her when they left, you know, they're the ones that's responsible for where she ended up.
Where do you guys think, this is speculation, conversation only, this is not fact.
Correct. Speculation.
Chat, Tanya, Jay Woody, where do you think the phone's at? Do you think it was somewhere in that car? Check it, didn't find it in the lake. It doesn't mean it couldn't have drifted off somewhere. Where do you think that phone really is?
I think it's buried. I think it's buried when they took her. I think it's buried. I think they smashed it. I mean, you just put yourself in the criminal, if let's say it's foul play or even a cover up of something. Everybody knows phones are trackable. They know that those little chips inside of them are trackable. And if you've watched any kind of movie with spies and everything on it, first thing they do is take the phone apart and break it and, get rid of it. I think.
Let's not give them that much credit, my friend. These people are real idiots we're dealing with. But I know
that's true, but I would say they smashed it. It's buried in the ground somewhere.
Let's not forget, and I'm guilty of it too. I've given these imbeciles way too much credit.
I know, but that would have to be a simple.
Said destroyed. Avi thinks that law enforcement has the phone by now.
Look,
I think it was Sammy. Go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
I've said from the beginning that the phone will never be found. Whether that phone is in 10 different pieces or if it's whole, it's not going to be found. I don't think that it's out of the, well, let me start here. I don't think the grandpa would have asked AWP if her phone was in the car if there was reason to think that her phone was on her.
Do they really
obviously
do they really need the phone? Do they really need the phone though? Because aren't all of our phones now like where everything we do, our call logs and everything, our GPS coordinates and everything, wouldn't they be already like on a cloud to where they could get all the information they need from her service? They don't really actually need the phone.
Well, it's not just about location. It's about understanding what was being said between her and her friends, her family. You can't rule anyone out at this point or any point until you have a definitive answer on what exactly happened to her. So anything on her phone that's personal to her that might have any kind of connection to others in her life is going to provide more insight. But what I'm saying is, I don't believe that she had her phone. Grandpa wouldn't have asked that. I don't think that the phone will ever be found because if foul play is involved, first thing everyone knows is to get rid of the phone so it's not being tracked. To me, it seems logical that the phone was possibly brought to Prosser, powered down, turned off, smashed, whatever you want to call it, and then taken elsewhere.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm asking about the phone is not because they physically have to have it to crack the case, because they can get things off the cloud. I did see one case, I'm trying to remember what it was. It took them, you're not going to believe this, Jay, 3 months to get the warrant back from Google to get the Google data because they didn't have the phone.
Oh, I believe it.
3 months. 3 months. And everyone's like, well, if they can just get it off the cloud, it doesn't work that way. They needed something specific from Google they could only get from Google. 3 months it took them to get that information back. It took them almost another 6 to go through everything that they were sent.
What was this for?
It was another case where they needed the cellular data. I'll have to find it. I have to find it. But anyway, okay, I'm getting off track again. So I'm not saying they have to physically have the phone. No, I wasn't trying to confuse anybody with that. It's just a personal item of Kylie's that's obviously important to her, as is what most everybody has in their hand or they're listening to on right now.
Right.
Where is it? I'm not saying anything about what's on it per se, just like the laptop. I wasn't like, oh my God, that laptop holds the key to everything. No, it's just physically, it's hers and it's at the bottom of the lake. They should have got her stuff out of the lake. That's what I'm saying. But the phone's a different story. The phone is most everyone's form of communication. This said phone is what supposedly Kylie herself texted her mother with to say she was going to be late. I'm just wondering what you guys think. Where could the phone be? Not because it's going to crack the case. They can get the data some other place. I just think it's odd that we haven't heard, especially since Grandpa's asking about the phone. Are they just not, we know they're just not saying anything. Just curious what you guys think.
Well,
Look, if the phone's not there, the phone wasn't found in Prosser Reservoir, if it wasn't in her car, if it wasn't in her pocket, it gives more speculation to foul play.
Yes, because she was her.
Yeah. In my mind, it makes perfect sense to bring that phone there, or if the phone was there to start with, power it down, smash it, whatever, take it elsewhere, throw them off the trail.
That's what I'm saying. The fact that we have that when the Check It TV guy went out there and he's like, I found a beanie, I found a tag, I found a bag, not a cell phone. All her stuff was kind of in the same area. I wasn't out there. But I mean, these are the things he retrieved. No phone.
Right.
They were asked about the phone. They did not answer anything about the phone. If that doesn't point to foul play, then I don't know what to tell you. But between that and, like I said, accident, if she was depressed or whatever, the fact that nobody saw her leave, there was a group of people that would have seen her leave. Whoever she was interacting with at that party would have seen her leave, drunk off her ass or not. Somebody would have noticed, especially when it was all over the news. A 2013 Honda CRV. This is the girl that would have been driving it. Not one person.
Right.
Her get in that car and drive away.
No kid that I know of. No young adult, no kid. They're not anywhere without their phones. Even if it was whether self-harm or if she, was drunk and had an accident, she still would have had that phone with her, whether it was dead or not. If it was dead, it would have been in her car charging. If it was not dead, she would have had it either in her pocket or near her. It would have been there somewhere. And that, to me, is just giving more credence to foul play. The fact that it wasn't with her, or it wasn't just obviously, seen. And if they have it, okay, well, then they have it. But the fact that, if they're asking for it, or the grandpa's asking for it, then they haven't told him that they have it. That would so totally lean more toward foul play, because just not going to be without your phone.
No, it's got to be somewhere around her if it was just an accident, right?
Right.
Particularly
or even self-harm would be around her.
Particularly if it was self-harm. Who knows? She might have been taking notes on it or something like that. No. And, people are like, well, kids these days, they're not going to say if they saw an accident. Look at what the kids involved. And I don't believe that for a minute, because they are kids and they usually tell way more than they know or should tell anyway. Look at the stuff that Jagger's putting out. He's talking about stuff that supposedly he wouldn't know anything about.
Right.
Look at all the stuff that Sammy has said. Goofy Kate. They're interacting with people all over, whether it be in direct messages or what we've heard on the news. So they'll say that much stuff, which makes no sense and makes them look very suspicious, but they won't say something as simple as, I saw her leave around 12:30.
Nope, that's totally. And kids today, I mean, just look at the news. Kids today, they pull out that phone and film everything. If somebody was like, you see them all the time. Somebody's having an accident or something right in front of them, they're out filming it instead of helping. And the fact that nobody saw anything, that is so suspect to me.
Not with all those kids. But hey, Tony, I've got some people backstage. Hey, grab the link anytime, my friend.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. I'm still gonna be listening, but y'all enjoyed. I was just wanted that. To me, those are just more questions that I had. This case just keeps bringing more and more questions instead of answers. But
We're going to have 50 more by the next show, I promise.
all right, enjoy it.
You know it. Be well. What's up, Audrey? What's good?
Hi, guys. I
Hey,
would have been
Audrey.
on earlier. I'm sorry. I was getting my daughter ready for school still.
No problem. No problem. So, what do you make of this? Jagger said he's been trying to tell us. Here, I'm going to put the screenshot up again. Right there. I'm so sorry. All these people, we can count ourselves in that boat, guys. I'm so sorry all these people are making such a mockery over this. I'm trying to tell them. It's over, but they won't listen. I'm trying, Kylie. I just don't know what else to do. What the hell has he said to give us any sort of ending to this tragedy? Anyone? What do you think, Audrey?
Yeah, it looks like he's just trying to play on emotion. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. Feel bad. But he hasn't really given us anything either. He's just said it's an accident, it happens, and that's that.
Yeah, he said she, this is his exact phrase, drunk off her ass and drove off a steep shore. He said that. Then he alluded to that she could have harmed herself. So what is it, Jagman? What are you trying to tell us?
He's trying to tell us anything to push us away from the truth. But I can't stand, sorry, I can't stand how he talks about everything. Like, drunk off her ass. That's so rude and disrespectful.
Mhm.
He doesn't have a filter.
Summer Breeze said, how would he know? Okay, there's a question for us right there. How would he know? He said he wasn't at the party. Now, Crime Online has a different quote from him, and so does Fox 46. He said he wasn't there. My understanding is some other people have said they did see him there, but then some people said they didn't. I can see it both ways. Not that he could be there but not be there. I could see some people saying, "Oh, I didn't see him," especially if there's that many people, and I could see some people saying, "I never saw him there." That wouldn't surprise me. What I want to know is, what exactly does he know or has been told, maybe by Lindsay, that he's been trying to tell us?
Yeah. And we do know that he did tell a news outlet that he was at the party, right? In the
Fox
very
43,
beginning?
Crime Online.
Yeah. So, he said it himself. Whether it was a lie for whatever reason or not, he said it. So we can't trust him now.
This is the way I see it. If foul play is involved, it wasn't foul play done by one person. There's many players involved. If
Yeah.
you take a look at the group of friends, Kate and Mags have been all but silent. Sammy has taken the role of being search party leader, teen-to-teen talk, orchestrator. She's playing the role of, I'm looking for the most, I'm putting the most effort into this. There's no way I could be guilty. Well, Jagger's taken the approach of, I love you, Kylie forever, this and that. He's taken the approach of being the lover that would never do any harm to the girlfriend.
Yeah.
When it, there may be many players involved, and there may be one story that they're sticking to, but in the end, they're all going to cover their own asses in their own way.
Yeah.
I have to address something real quick. April C., you said all the people in this group show distancing behavior. You're 100% right. Your message was not supposed to be hidden. It was an accident. So please don't think anyone was doing anything. Sometimes the chat moves fast. We hit the wrong person. We very, very, very rarely time out remove a comment. Blocking is almost unheard of. So, but accidents do happen. April, so I hope you're still in here. All right, sorry guys, I just happened to see that. I timed out my own mod one day. I did.
Whoops.
I think at the time I had 2 mods. You can just imagine the world I was in that day. Love you, April C. All right, so back to Jagman, or some people call him Shagger because all the girls want him. I mean, I'm not that
Oh,
age, so I
God.
can comment on that. So the Jagman's been trying to tell us. I understand I'm beating a dead horse here. I think there's more to this statement than what we're led to believe. I don't know when he says I've been trying to tell them. Is he trying to convince us of what he wants to be true? Or is he trying to tell us what he knows because his ass was there?
I think he's definitely trying to convince us of this narrative he wants us to believe. And by bringing Kylie into it and telling her, I'm so sorry, that they're not listening, it's like a play on emotions, I think. It's like a guilt trip.
Look, if he was there at the party, law enforcement more than likely knows. You don't just take one person's statement of vouching for him for his alibi, especially when it's a family member, especially when it's a dad.
Yeah,
They have
yeah.
to corroborate the dad's story. And then they're going to look at everything leading up to where the dad was. And they're going to figure out if Jagger was with him or not.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such arrogance when you think about it. This is as adult and as real as it gets. You have red flags all over the place pointing to foul play. You don't even have to talk about broken windows or being in the back or Nick, the roadside assistance guy. The fact that she is dead and nobody saw her. Whoa, what happened? The fact that she is dead and nobody saw her leave, that's foul as F. That is foul. You can't get past just that very simple thing. So the arrogance, him and Sammy, to insert themselves in something that, like I said, is terrifying and as real as it gets, they're so detached from her being dead. She was in that lake for at least 2 weeks, right? Unless she was put in there later.
That's something we don't know for sure.
We don't know that either, do we? Seems a little unlikely considering 2 or 3 people saw her, possibly her, on the 6th. And then we have roadside assistance that saw someone that looks like Jagger, which from what I'm gathering could be basically any kid in America right now that's about that stature, because they all have about the same hair and cap right now.
Mm-hmm.
And another girl by her car. Frisco Chick, I love this comment. Listen to this. She said, Jagger's interview on August 11th, he states, I haven't been there yet. Meaning Truckee. Why did Sammy say he came the day after she went missing? I'll raise that ante. Why did he say he drove 4 hours as soon as he found out? This is why I love this chat. The stuff you guys catch, he did. When he was at the Kentucky Fried parking lot in Reno, talking to the news anchor, he was in Reno with Kate. We can just imagine why. And some other random dude that was in the background that didn't talk on camera. He said, I haven't been there yet.
I think he was referring to, because I remember writing this down because that stood out to me, but he was saying why he was searching in Reno, and he said, because I haven't been there yet. Like, why did you need to add that in there?
Kentucky, or did he mean Reno?
No, I'm pretty sure he meant Reno. I remember writing it down because that stood out to me, and because it was weird that they even went to search in Reno. Why would you go so far away from where she was last seen? I mean, I get that other people were searching there, but it's different than yourself searching there.
Okay.
Well, you could also take that on the opposite spectrum and say, what is Sammy referring to as there?
Mm-hmm.
Truckee, Placer? I mean, there's a lot of reference there that it's a little vague.
Yeah, true. It's just there's a lot of little extra things that these kids are putting into their sentences. Like Jagger always talking about 4 hours, 4 hours. Why not? I just drove up from Napa right away. But
That's
he's
another
got to say 4 hours. So they're just kids, right? So they're going to give us so many clues, especially Sammy. Oh my gosh. They're giving us so many clues with what they're saying. They're basically telling on themselves.
And anymore, it's not even the BS they're trying to sell us, it's what they don't say.
Mm-hmm.
Like you mentioned, the 4 hours. Why is that a consistent narrative? 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
What's 4 hours? Dude,
Just-
4 hours is 4 hours.
He just wants to remind everybody 4 whole hours away. But why do you feel like you need to do that?
Yep, nobody asked how long it took you to get from A to B.
Mm-hmm.
One conversation in particular with Shagster is they said, dude, have you seen the AWP video? Now, this is before he went and attacked them and said, you guys are clout chasers. I mean,
Oh my God.
they
Yeah.
found Kylie. There's other ways to get clout than risking your own life. What a ridiculous
Yeah.
for that. They're not even kids. Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
So he doesn't say, I saw the video. That's wild. Wonder who that guy was. Nothing like that. We kind of have the same thing that Kate said when Kate responded to Emma and just said, that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't even curious as to what was said. He kind of takes a page out of the same book and says, I was 4 hours away, or I live. He didn't even say I was 4 hours away. I live 4 hours away. Then he
Mm-hmm.
goes over publicly. Let me see if I can find it. Attacks Adventures with Purpose, because God knows they're never going to get a thank you out of the people that truly loved Kylie, correct? Except for Grandpa and Dad. He goes
Yeah.
there, calls them clout chasers, effing liars, but then says, your witness is a liar.
Mm-hmm.
A
How
witness,
does he know?
a witness has to witness something now, don't they? That doesn't
Mm-hmm.
seem like the type of verbiage that just a kid would use, right?
Mm-hmm. And like you said, they should be curious about this. They should be like, oh my gosh, did he actually see her the next day? They would be just as curious as we were if they really didn't know. Because I mean, he's making it seem like he knows. How else would you know that this guy's lying?
Did we lose you, Brooks?
Did she fall?
It kind of sound like it.
What the hell? I dropped my mic.
Okay.
Somehow I had muted myself and I was on one of my raids. I'm glad that I saved you guys from all of that. Yvonne, thank you for becoming a new YouTube member. Then as I'm sitting there screwing with it, I knocked it out of the plug. It falls on the ground. So then you could hear it in the other mic. We're okay. We got it all together now. Don't worry. I heard everything you said. I was actually telling Jay to chime in on it.
Okay.
Jagger's a hard one to read because for face value, you want to take that alibi of him being in Napa and not at the party. But then, of course, you wonder how he could get there so quick. We don't know when he got there. We have conflicting stories from Sammy. We know that he was in Reno when he gave the interview. Um, like why were they in Reno? Yeah, I get that he told the news that that was their special place they like to go. And I even get why they would like to go there. It's a big booming city. It's not like the mountains there in Truckee. You feel much more important in the big city and nightlife. So all that makes sense. It's, I think it just, for me, it comes back to how thick is that alibi?
Mm-hmm. And it's not. I don't think it's solid enough.
Well, like I said, if it's not, law enforcement knows.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I'll tell you what, there may not be any cameras on Placer Campground, but there's plenty at Napa.
And Reno.
Mm-hmm.
And we can also look at other cases. One that I just spoke about yesterday. Other cases we cover on this channel where people, it's an illness. It really is. Will insert themselves into something that it makes such a mess. We have Crystal Sorey in Harmony's disappearance. Yes, she's her biological mother, but she hadn't seen her in 2 years. And she inflated her involvement, got shut down really quick, basically found out she was a liar. We have Jody Sue in the Summer Wells case, plopped right in the middle of it, bona fide liar. And I think some of these kids could be the same way. Because if Jagger wasn't there, if he truly was not there, I lean towards he was there because he wouldn't be so defensive. If he and he wouldn't have the information he has. If he truly wasn't there, he shouldn't be giving firsthand accounts of what went on. One of his comments was, she didn't call roadside assistance. Okay, well, how would you know? We did that whole show, said, how do you know? How would he know? Now we're to this with all these cryptic, insane messages. What are you trying to tell us, Jagger? We know you got a new boo. Congrats. What are you trying to tell us about Kylie? We're here for Kylie. He's been trying to tell us. He doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, he wants us all to stop speculating and just go with the accident.
Let me ask you guys before I start winding this down, because I have to be somewhere in a little bit. I tell you what, this thing called paying bills is getting in the way of my chit-chat time with my friends. Anyway, do you guys think that we're really going to get an update this week from Nevada County? Because according to News Nation, when they reached out to Nevada County, they said that there would be an update this week. I heard it was going to be yesterday. I didn't see anything on Twitter or on their Facebook page. Do you guys think that we're really going to get one? Or if that was kind of a, hey, News Nation's on the phone again. Yeah, tell them we'll probably say something next week. What do you think? Do you think we're going to get an update?
I hope we do. I really hope we do. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they can go back on their word now that they've said it to News Nation. But they've done so many things already that have surprised us. So,
Well, what exactly was News Nation's statement?
Let me play it real quick, my friend. That would probably help us to put it in context. Double Mint, I saw your message that you sent me an email, and I promise later this afternoon I will get your email. I'll respond to the email, and we will talk about it in Discord too. Lone Wolf, thank you for the super sticker, said law enforcement got a geofence warrant for 400 cell phones. In order for a judge to sign for that, it has to be a criminal investigation. Now, where are you getting this information, Lone Wolf, that law enforcement got a warrant for 400 cell phones? That's big, huge news, my friend.
That's a good question.
I need
And
to know where that came from before anyone runs with it.
yeah,
Yes.
I do
oh man, so
appreciate
much,
I do appreciate that. That would be great. That
so
sounds
many
like
crazy things you hear through the wild, wild west of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say be vigilant and try to do your own research,
that's
not
all.
latch on to just something you hear.
400
But no, not discrediting what Lone Wolf's saying. I know Lone Wolf does his own research, but that's the first time I've seen that.
Tiff. Okay, Tiff, I'll check your email too. And if warrants have gone out wherever he's getting this information, because we don't know it to be fact, that could take that would take hundreds of people, computers, software, and hours to go through that. Don't look for an answer on those 400 cell phones anytime soon, if that's the truth. All right, let's see how News Nation said this.
Body of missing California teen Kylie Rodney now suspects foul play in her disappearance. Rodney was last seen at a high school party at a California campground, but her remains were found nearly 2 weeks later in her submerged car. News Nation's Sloan Glass joins us live. Now, Sloan, it is important to say police are not yet saying this, but why is the dive team saying foul play?
Exactly, Nicole. And lead diver Doug Bishop is saying that in the case of the California team, he suspects foul play because of what his team saw when they found her car. Kylie's body was discovered by a volunteer group with a popular YouTube channel called Adventures with Purpose. And Kylie was found in the passenger seat.
She's in the back of the vehicle. She's not in the driver's seat. It looks suspicious to me.
Adventures with Purpose specializes in sonar recovery, particularly in finding vehicles underwater. Nevada County Sheriff telling News Nation, "We are not providing comments on Adventures with Purpose remarks. Our investigation is ongoing. We hope to release the final autopsy and toxicology report soon, once they are finalized." They typically focus on cold cases, but after receiving tens of thousands of requests, Adventures with Purpose looked into Kylie's case.
Clearly, their expertise in diving and their equipment that they brought to the table assisted us, and we appreciate that.
And after a 2-week search effort, Kylie's Honda CR-V was found 14 feet underwater in less than an hour by the volunteer group.
Rear driver's side window is halfway down.
Copy that. Rear driver's side window is down.
Kylie Roddy was last seen leaving a high school graduation party with more than 300 people. She had texted her mom saying she would be leaving the party in 45 minutes, adding, "I love you." Diver Doug Bishop telling Ashley Banfield.
And you're hitting on something with someone who knows something there at the party. Someone knows something.
The PIO with the Nevada County Sheriff's Office followed up by telling us they hope to provide an update next week. But with hundreds of people having attended that graduation party, law enforcement is hoping that someone saw something at that party that can help lead to answers, and will.
Okay, well, I'd like to solve the puzzle, Vanna. They said they'd like to tell us something this week.
Yeah.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like for you to too. But right after that, what she said, with all the people at the party, that's the information that I'm more interested in. They still believe somebody saw something, like her leave. I'm going to rewind that just real quick. They're still saying the same thing, guys.
Yeah, while you're rewinding it, let me just address to her saying that she was found in the passenger seat. We all know that that's incorrect.
That was a big incorrect.
It was a misspeak. News people make mistakes as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because AWP would have already come out and said, "Oh yeah, we were wrong. It was actually the passenger seat." You know,
that's kind of hard to mess up.
That's kind of hard to mess up.
Yeah.
answers and will step forward. Nicole. All right, Sloan Glass is hoping that someone saw something at that party that can help lead to answers and will step forward. Nicole.
That somebody saw something at that party that could lead to answers. They're flying blind. If none of these kids at the party will tell them anything, then they have a lot to do. That's for sure. They have a lot to do.
If they indeed did get a warrant to geofence that whole area, they can definitely triangulate pings of others' phones as well. And if they put any others' phones with Kylie's, then I think that automatically names them a suspect.
I wouldn't doubt for a second, and don't think I'm doubting Lone Wolf at all, guys. I just want to know where it came from. I'm going to assume pretty early on when they were getting no answers that they were already doing that this isn't something that just happened in the last few days, that this was something they got onto a month and a half ago. Because you have all these kids at Woodstock 2022. Nobody sees her leave except the last person that saw her, which is Sammy. Can't possibly be. Jagger 4 hours away, yet knows a lot about said party, even as much as to tell you, don't worry, she didn't call roadside assistance. I would think that they would have gotten a geofencing warrant a long time ago.
Yeah, I feel like this news broadcast or announcement, it should have happened in like the first week. I feel like we're going back in time listening to this.
Well, basically,
like, where was this the whole time?
Well, taking it in context, we listened to it together. They said, we'd like to give an update next week. We'd like to.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like for today to be my birthday, but it's not.
Yeah, we know what that means.
We know what you're saying. We also know that means a big fat nothing burger for us this week.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I did want to bring up something about the phone. I'm pretty sure she had an iPhone, correct?
Yeah.
So I don't understand why they didn't want to get their hands on that laptop, because a lot of the times whatever comes on the iPhone also comes up on the MacBook.
Right.
So, and especially with the cloud too, they could have got into there quick. So
I don't know if you heard me when I was talking to Jay Woody, and it's not the only case. I just have to remember what case it was. When you're reading through, I don't know if it was the probable cause affidavit or the arrest affidavit. Anyway, they were talking about the cellular data and what they did to get it. And one was they mentioned Google. Okay, now obviously it's easier if you have the said device. You can plug in and see what's up. But they had to get, because they don't need it. They can get it in other ways. 3 months in this case, it took them to get back what they requested from Google. And when they did, it was like a 3-month block. It was like an insane amount of data they sent them. So imagine all of your Google searches you do. Everything from how long does it take to defrost chicken to is the sun really bad for me? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All of that came back. It took a month to put it all together. It's not like Google prints out one page and highlights it. Hey, looks like I found your guy. Crazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have all their devices synced anyway.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the Apple products. They're always synced together like that. And a lot of the times you'll get like the same text messages, pictures, everything that you're going to get on your phone is going to come up on the MacBook.
The way I see that whole laptop situation was, okay, first off, yes, we did see what looked like a MacBook in the AWP video and slowed down and reproduced on other channels. We don't know for a fact that was the MacBook. All we saw was what looked like the back of it. That laptop could have been not in the car and brought back and dumped after the car was pulled, for one, and that's just speculation, just food for thought. But for two, with the whole scenario of Check It TV calling Placer County and them supposedly not wanting to come and get it and taking so long to finally do come out and get it, it just could have really been a matter of chain of command and not wanting to step on toes of the Nevada County's investigation. I don't believe that they didn't want to get it. I believe that there was just some hoops to jump through on who was going to do it and when.
Yeah, and in a lot of cases you see that where they're pushing it off to, well, this is your area, or this person's taking care of it now. So yeah,
We've certainly seen that from Placer County Sheriff's Twitter account.
A lot going on. But since they said they would like to give us an update this week, I'm just going to take that as don't take off work or mark your calendars just yet. Don't think we're going to have anything this week. I think it's going to be, just my opinion, from the way things have been going. Could be wrong. Been wrong a million times before. Probably going to be November 1st. But I have to start shutting this down. I ran this over my intended time because I have some stuff I have to be at here in about 10 minutes. And I'm not a speeder. I'm one of those people that is the slowest person in traffic. I impede traffic as slow as I am. But that's okay. Wish me luck and the other drivers luck. You'll hear a lot of people cussing because I am that person. Audrey, always awesome talking to you. I'll see you.
Yes, you guys too.
Thanks, Audrey.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you guys.
Brooks, you have a good day. I appreciate you allowing me on, as always.
Anytime, my friend. I'll see you over in Discord. As always, love your common sense, take no prisoners approach to cases.
Well, thank you, ma'am. I wouldn't have it any other way.
And you're detailed to research, and the whole gotta have discernment because someone said it doesn't make it true. Love it.
That is correct. Thank you.
See you over in Discord, my friend.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, we will be having a members only live tomorrow. If you're not a member, grab the link, come in and chat with us. Got a lot going on that we don't discuss on the show because you know how the powers that be are. They pick apart everything we say, even if it's simply, this is what I think. But anyway, I still think we do pretty good on the public platform. You know what I mean? So join us over in the members live tomorrow. I'll see you in Discord later this afternoon. Probably won't be till like 5 or 6 o'clock tonight, but I'll be in there saying hi. If you're not a member of the Facebook group and you do Facebook, never liked Facebook, getting into Facebook, whatever, go check it out. It's just Crime Lines and Lies. We don't just talk about the Kylie case, but every case that's going on. It's very interesting. But in the meantime, mods, you rock, you know it. And you guys are the best chat and best community on YouTube. Not gonna lie, you are. See you back here then tomorrow for the members live. If I miss you in Discord or Facebook. You guys have a good one. Bye-bye.